The Mandalorian and Grogu movie is coming officially May 22nd, 2026. So that's 2 years and a month away, pretty much. In this time, what are we going to get? Well, we've got, the Acolyte coming next month, or a couple months from now. We've got Tales of the Empire. We have the Skeleton Crew, which I still don't really know what that's about. We have the Star Wars game coming out in December or something like that, I think, in the fall or the winter. And then after that, we don't really know what we're getting. My thoughts are that we're going to be getting a Ahsoka Season 2 show sometime in 2025. I think that'll be probably announced around Celebration, I think, or maybe even like release around Celebration. They'll probably have like a 2-episode premiere, and then Celebration will be like the day after or something like that, kind of like they've done before. We could potentially get a Boba Fett Season 2. They need to fix that story, that's for sure. And, Andor Season 2. So those are the 3 shows that I think we could be getting in 2025, maybe even some more and some games. And then as for the movies, we're getting the Rey movie and the Mandalorian movie in 2026. So 2 movies coming out like in 1 year, which is pretty contradictory to what Kathleen said about Star Wars reaching like a level of fatigue where Solo bombed because of too many Star Wars films in a short period of time. I think that's what Bob Iger said too. So it seems like they're kind of, starting to double down now on Star Wars, and they want to create more content faster. We also have some more information on the director of the James Mangold movie, which is going to be Dawn of the Jedi. And it is the same gentleman, the same guy who wrote or worked on Andor. The scribe worked on Season 1 of Andor. Yeah, he's a writer. The acclaimed Emmy Award-nominated Star Wars series focused on the character played by Diego Luna. So let's first talk about Mando, and we can discuss a little bit more about the other news as well. Mandalorian and Grogu, a cinematic spin-off of the hit Disney Plus series The Mandalorian, will open May 22nd, 2026. Toy Story 5, I gotta announce Toy Story 5. I love Toy Story. Will debut June 19th, 2026. That's cool. That's nice. It signals that Disney is getting serious about reinvigorating its big screen Star Wars franchise after mostly focusing on streaming shows like The Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi, which both were extremely lackluster. Could have been so much better. They were horrible, to be honest. Its last major film release was 2019, and that's because of the writing and directing. So we need to hire better writers who know the characters. You know what? It's one thing to be creative enough to write a story. It's another thing to be creative enough to know what these Star Wars characters would do in the scenario that you have written, right? It's not just like plug in, play, like, oh, hey, here's a scenario. We're looking for Obi-Wan. How are these characters actually thinking during this time? What has happened prior? What will happen? How does it all fuse together to give you a realistic sort of story and approach and development for these characters so that it all makes sense in the world that George Lucas created? But they don't do that, right? Its last major release was 2019 Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker Episode 9, which was a box office success but a critical disappointment. Listen, like I've said many times before, I and many others on the internet make a living, some sort of a living, from talking about Star Wars or whatever it might be. Let alone Star Wars themselves, who are extremely successful when they slap anything with the logo on the box or on the movie. People are going to see it. And now it's gotten to the point where people are going to see it because they want to see, is it bad or is it good? And that's really not a place you want to be at. Star Wars used to be a very exciting thing, and now it's sort of like a place of perhaps ridicule for some and a place for enjoyment for others. This is not really the place that we want to be in for Star Wars to be truly successful as it could be. The Mandalorian and Grogu is assuming a release date that has been previously given to an untitled Star Wars film, Thor Ragnarok director Taika Waititi. Yeah, what happened to him, man? No word on when the busy Waititi will make that trip to a galaxy far, far away. Man, no one's too busy for Star Wars. Disney also said that Tron Ares will open October 10th, 2025. The film serves as a standalone sequel to both 1982 Tron, and they're filming this right now in my city. I was driving home the other night, and they completely changed Burrard Street, and they have all the lights and everything. It looked completely different. Tron, one of my favorite movies, my all-time favorite movie soundtrack. Cannot be beat. Tron Legacy, I've watched that movie so many times. I should make a Tron Theory channel, to be honest, with how much I've watched Tron. But yeah, hey, that's pretty cool. We're getting the movie for Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't know what's going to happen in it, but I think, there's still 2 years of a gap. And what they need to do is they need to close out the Ahsoka show, so season 2 at least. They need to redo the Boba Fett show. A season 2 where he's an actual bounty hunter and he's not horrible, weak. And I would really recommend that we get one more season of The Mandalorian. if they have nothing to do with The Mandalorian until the movie, that's going to be 3 years of a gap, which is, like the movies used to be. But that's just too long, man. Especially considering Mandalorian Season 3 was horrible. It was just no. Especially when you compare it from Season 1 and Season 2, especially Season 1. That being said, of course, if the sequel trilogy did a great job in theaters, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will do a great job in theaters as well. I don't know if it'll be $1 billion film, but it really depends, how many characters they want to put into this thing. It also depends on how the buildup is going to be in these next 2 years. And it's going to be extremely crucial to see what the character development will be, what the story will be, and how the villains play a big role in the overarching theme that is entering into the sequel trilogy. Are we going to be learning about Snoke? Are we going to be going into Snoke, maybe a young Palpatine? Are we going to get a young Sidious clone? Or are they just going to leave that to the side and have us focus on something that takes place in this, 30-year gap, which we have a ton of real estate to play with, and create new memories, new stories, new villains that can rise and fall, all in time for Kylo Ren and Rey and everything else that goes on in the sequels in that 1 year time span. So these next few years are extremely crucial for Star Wars, I feel, where we need to really see some stories that are hitting. And the stories themselves are not just compelling, but the character arcs are as well. So that's really what I'm hoping to see. I think these next couple years are really, really important to us, and they really need to hit it out of the park, and they just cannot miss. Because time is of the essence. If they want the Mandalorian and Grogu movie to do really well, they need to create a story now that's going to carry on into that film, because as we've discussed, the rumors are that that film will be a sort of conglomerate of all of the different shows coming together into one. Mando, Boba, and any other characters that they want to interject in there. Now, as for Dawn of the Jedi, that's something that I'm also looking forward to. Dawn of the Jedi is a really great comic series. However, I don't know if they're going to be using the adaptation, if they're going to be adapting from those comics. They could, but they could also just go and do their own thing, which they probably will. If we see the Thoyor and all that stuff, man, that's going to be amazing. When I first started talking to Kathleen Kennedy about doing one of these pictures, what occurred to me was thinking about what kind of genre of a movie within Star Wars I wanted to do. Mangold said at the time, and I thought about a biblical epic like a 10 Commandments about the dawning of the Force. Where did the Force come from? When did we discover it? When did we learn how to use it? Yeah, it's cool. I'm just that's kind of big. Imagine if someone made the 10 Commandments movie and it was ass, right? So that's what we're treading on here with this, and you're creating a film that will essentially start Star Wars. Now you're going to the very beginning, and you got to be really careful, right? Can't piss the fans off on this one. You think you could do it on the other ones. You're gonna see a different wrath with this. So it's very important that we have something that's just a good story, man. I don't need to say anything special or crazy. It's just a good story that makes sense, and something that's moving, compelling, and the characters are influential. They're smart, and they have a great character arc, and they go through ups and downs like every one of us do in life. They're not just perfect like many of the characters that we've seen in the sequels. Now, there's no telling when this movie is going to come out. I imagine it would be 2027 or something like that. So, we got all these shows leading up until 2026. Mando movie comes out. We may get a sequel to that, and that maybe, 2029 comes out. Then this movie comes out 2026, 2027, and then the Rey movie would come out probably between those two films. So, there's definitely a lot of Star Wars projects. It's just these next few years are really crucial and critical for us if we want to make something that's compelling and interesting and keep people hooked and engaged. And in Disney's eyes, all that matters is to buy those tickets and to be a happy Star Wars fan and to go in and consume the product and buy more toys, buy more memorabilia, merchandise, tickets, movies, so on. And so the only way to do that is to really captivate the audience and create a really good product. And the way you do that is by having good writers that understand George Lucas's Star Wars. And I say that because Disney Star Wars is completely diverted from what George's vision was, at least in my opinion. And I know many others. So these next few years are pretty important. Let's sit back, relax, let them do the work, and let's see if they earn our money. At the end of the day, we are the ones that talk with our wallets. And if we don't like something, we don't need to support it. That being said, I'm going to support every single Star Wars project that comes out because, well, it's my job now. So I want to definitely give a consensus on everything I see and, you know, a reaction. It's going to be fun, actually, you know, once the movies come out in theaters, you know, I'll right away be doing a little video on my phone or go in my car and sit my initial thoughts and be like, man, you know, what was this? Or, man, this was amazing. This is everything we've wanted it to be. Why couldn't they do this with the sequels, blah, 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 or, you know, vice versa. So we don't know what happens, but hey, that's the news. That's my thoughts. Mando movie coming. And the James Mangold Dawn of the Jedi movie is getting the writer from Andor. I'm sure Mahler will be happy about that. So that's it for the news. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you go to theorysabers.com, grab yourself a saber. The full site is up, and we got the code running right now, Theory 10, which will get you 10% off. We have over 120 different products. There's a limited edition stand right now if you want to go grab it. That's definitely going hot. And once these are done, I'm not sure if we'll be bringing them back. But yeah, anyways, have a great day. May the force be with you. See you later.